Rembrandt van Rijn, a Dutch Golden Age artist, painted Christ in the storm on the Sea of Galilee in 1633. It is one of Rembrandt's largest and earliest paintings and is categorized as a historical painting. It was bought by Bernard Berenson in 1869 for Isabella Stewart Gardner and was on exhibit at the Boston Museum until it was stolen in 1990. It is still missing. The biblical scene, as reported in the 4th chapter of the Gospel of Mark, in which Jesus calmed the storm on the Sea of Galilee, is depicted in the artwork. It is the lone seascape by Rembrandt. The vertically oriented picture depicts a close-up of Christ's disciples urgently attempting to recover control of their fishing boat while battling a fierce storm. A large wave rips the sail and strikes the bow. A follower may be seen throwing up over the side. Another one is a self-portrait of the artist, who is facing the audience directly. Only the image of Christ on the right is serene. The scene is based on Luke chapter 8 verses 22 to 25. In which the disciples in charge of the ship were startled by the unexpected storm and roused Jesus from his slumber out of fear. One of the more accurate renderings of the incident is Rembrandt's. The perspective is dropped so that the sky takes up more area than the sea, yet Christ, the boat, and its crew continue to be the painting's main focus points. The ship resembles a hooker, a fishing boat used in the North Sea. In contrast to the traditional square or triangular sail, Rembrandt altered the hull to appear more asymmetrical and heavier. The depiction of ships in seascapes by Dutch artists frequently sought to be accurate. However, art historian Christian Tumpel pointed out Rembrandt's propensity to change backdrops, like the disciples' ship, to match his own imagination by using older Bible illustrations. Tenebrism was used by Rembrandt to show Christ's miracle of stilling the waters in the painting. A ray of light shines from the painting's upper left, and amid the storm, one can make out the bright blue sky. The boat and its crew are cast back into shadow as the camera pans to the right. The way the subject is treated up close and the composition as a whole remind one of an Adrian Collard print based on a Merton de Vos design. The image was part of the 12-part work Vita, Passio et Resurrectio Iesv Christ, which Jan and Raphael Sadeler released in Antwerp in 1583. The boat is shown tilting forward in Rembrandt's painting, which also uses the same portrait format as Collard's print. The main motif of the disciples battling in the boat against the weather takes up the majority of the space, just like the print. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee is an oil-on-canvas painting that is roughly 160 x 128 cm in size and is categorized as a historical artwork. 4. It is the largest known historical work that Rembrandt produced, and it was his first painting, finished when he was 29 years old. He had moved from Amsterdam to Leiden at the time that The Storm on the Sea of Galilee was written. Since no record of such a commission has survived, it is unknown if the painting was done for one. The same year, Rembrandt created a drawing titled Christ Walking on the Wave that shows Christ walking on the Sea of Galilee to save a drowning sailor. This sketch was inspired by a scene from Matthew chapter 14 verses 22 to 33, in which Christ appears to his followers in a fishing boat while walking on the sea, and Peter tries to follow him but sinks and needs to be saved. In the 1600s, Dutch seascapes gained popularity and were generally seen as a response to how painting style had been evolving at the time. Imagined depth, lower horizons, and a more accurate portrayal of nature grew increasingly common as vertical surfaces, cartographic perspective, and religious themes decreased in frequency. This transformation, according to visual artist Alan Sekula, was brought about by 4 social developments in Dutch society: a growth in trade, maritime conflicts, the adoption of navigational and cartographic skills into Dutch culture, and the use of political and marine themes in art. Following the conclusion of the 80 Years' War with Spain, the Netherlands started to become a new global power. The development of the Dutch West India Company and the Dutch East India Company led to the naval trade becoming a significant new component of Dutch life, and the popularity of seascapes increased. These paintings were categorized as seascape scenes, ship portraits, or naval conflicts. Religious themes were frequently included into seascape paintings, as Rembrandt had done with The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. Isabella Stewart Gardner acquired The Storm on the Sea of Galilee in 1898 from the art dealers Asher Wertheimer and Kolnaghi and Company for $6,000, equivalent to $211,056 in 2022, who having acquired it from Henry Francis Pelham Clinton Hope earlier in the year. Tijman Jacobs Hinlopen, also known as Tijman, a manager of the Dutch and Whaling Company of Noordzee Company, is the first owner documented on the provenance. In 1644, when it was still known as a painting of St. Peter's ship, he bought The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. The art critic and art historian Bernard Berenson managed the sale. Gardner did not buy the picture directly. Although it is unknown when Gardner and Berenson first met, they forged a close relationship that allowed Berenson to support Gardner's acquisitions, including The Rape of Europa in 1896. Gardner's public collection was established with Berenson's help, and the two frequently corresponded about the procedure. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee was hung in the area Gardner referred to as the Dutch Room after Gardner bought the artwork. The artwork was added to a collection that already had the concert by Johannes Vermeer and a self-portrait by Rembrandt. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee stayed in this room until 1990, when burglars broke into the Gardner Museum and cut the painting from its frame. The greatest art robbery in American history occurred on March 18, 1990, when two thieves entered the museum dressed as police officials and stole The Storm on the Sea of Galilee and 12 other pieces. The robbery has not been uncovered. The FBI declared on March 18, 2013, that it had identified the criminal. However, no one has been taken into custody, and the inquiry is still ongoing. This painting was depicted in the Bible of Luke chapter 8 verses 22 to 25, King James Version 22. Now it came to pass on a certain day, that he went into a ship with his disciples. And he said unto them, Let us go over unto the other side of the lake. And they launched forth. 23 But as they sailed he fell asleep, and there came down a storm of wind on the lake, and they were filled with water, and were in jeopardy. 24 And they came to him, and awoke him, saying, Master, Master, we perish. Then he arose, and rebuked the wind and the raging of the water. And they ceased, and there was a calm. 25 And he said unto them, Where is your faith? And they being afraid wondered, saying one to another, What manner of man is this? For he commandeth even the winds and water, and they obey him. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, 1633, the only seascape by Rembrandt that is still unaccounted for, was stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in 1990. For prints of this painting or art supplies to make paintings and/or a Bible to find the passage of this depicted scene by Rembrandt, please click the links below in the description.